Hey, fellow Texans, it's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. I know, good to see you too. Well, you just heard from Trina there. We have new footage released in the Minnesota ICE shooting, and it kind of body cam footage. I think he's actually holding a cell phone with his left hand doing the recording, but it looks like body cam footage because it's sort of the first person view. I don't know if you're a gamer, but like a first person shooter, like you're playing Wolfenstein or something. And you would think having this many angles that there would be more of a definitive answer on whether or not this was a justified shooting or an understandable shooting or whether or not this was murder. But I've already seen people online in both camps say this solidifies their position. I see people saying that, well, like the JD Vance and whatnot, saying, well, I told you, she hit him with her car. It's a justified shot. Here's a guy, his name is Tim Miller. He's host of the Bulwark podcast, author of a bunch of stuff. But he says, the MAGA accounts, this is on X, the MAGA accounts defending this body cam footage reveal them to be either bloodthirsty monsters who love to murder lib women or the biggest P words in history who are deathly afraid of a Honda Pilot going 3 miles an hour. Do not see an in between. Well, that's unfortunate. I think most people understand there's a little gray area to be had for both of them. And look, there's the on the one end of the extreme Overton window of this discussion is a woman tried to run over an ICE agent and he had to shoot her or he would be dead right now. The other end of that is there's a lady who was being harassed by ICE agents, just minding her own business. And when she was trying to escape, they shot her while she was running away. Truth's going to be somewhere in the middle of that. I'm not sure she even knew that guy was in front of her. I think she was paying attention to backing up. And then the guy that was pulling on her handle while she was backing up, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I think when she turned her wheel, she was trying to get out of there, not necessarily trying to hit the guy, although he was in the path. I think her vehicle did make contact with him. And then on the other side, on the gray area from the ICE perspective, if he doesn't shoot her, he's probably still alive. I mean, he's almost definitely still alive. So it wasn't like a necessary shot, like he had to shoot her or he was going to die. But I think in the moment when he pulled out his gun and a car's going at him, he doesn't know that, and he can't know that, and he can't be held accountable for not knowing that. But you think once everyone sees all the videos and gets all the information that all reasonable minds will come to the same conclusion. That's not happening. All I can do is I can play you the audio, and if you want to go get the video, I believe we already have it up at WBAP.com. I know I've shared it out on the WBAP X feed, formerly Twitter. So if you're not on social media, you should get on it just to follow us. But here's the audio, and I bleeped it out. Don't worry.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Oh!
And this has become a Rorschach test now. You know what I mean by that? The ink blot test, where we can show people the same video and then based on their pre-existing bias, they can come up with vastly different interpretations of what that means. But for most of us, the story's over. We saw what we saw. The more we learn about this, the more it just confirms what you saw originally, whichever Team Blue or Team Red you're on this one. And the real story here now is the reaction to it. The real story now is all these F-bombs that are flying out everywhere. You had Jacob Fry the day of, just an hour or two after it happened. He has to go out and tell the police, get the F out of here. Or get the F out of Minneapolis. All right. Oh, tough guy. You're so bad. Oh, we're so scared of you. What are you, like 140 pounds? Yeah. Real frightening stuff. Real tough talk.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis.
Well, that's not very nice, but now this is being repeated over and over and over. We have this guy here. His name's Krasner. He is the district attorney in Philadelphia, and he tells ICE the same thing. GTFO.
If any law enforcement agent, any ICE agent, is going to come to Philly to commit crimes, then you can get the F out of here.
Yeah, he continues there, but Eric Swalwell, the congressman who got busted because he had a couple year long affair with Fang Fang, a literal Chinese spy. You're cheating on your wife with a Chinese spy. How is this guy getting reelected? Oh, he's in California. That's right. But he has he put out a video and it's so cringe, y'all. He wants it to look like this is just some organic thing that happened candidly. And it's clearly scripted. So in the video, it shows him and he's walking down the hall. And it's one of those videos in like one of the Capitol office buildings where, you know, the reporter rushes up to him and goes, "Hey, excuse me, Congressman, can I ask you a question?" And so he keeps walking and the guy's walking next to him and they're trying to act like this is some natural organic thing. And you can hear him reciting a script here. But he says the same thing. Stay the F out of California.
Hey, Congressman,
What's going on, man?
what the is up with ICE murdering a woman in Minneapolis?
She has a name, right? Renee Good. Looks like she was a mom of 3 and had every right to go see her kids last night. And instead, she's dead. And of course, this is what would happen when you have a president who surges his thugs into our communities, masked, unidentified. And I guess you're lucky now if all that happens is you're thrown in the back of a van or you're dragged by your hair through the streets, because now they're just shooting people in the face and bodies are piling up. And we have to do something about it. We're not helpless. None of us are helpless. We have to strip these guys of their immunity that makes them feel like they're invincible. We have to ban masks and require them to show their faces. And we have to make sure they're prosecuted locally. Otherwise, they're going to just roam around terrorizing people, terrorizing women, terrorizing moms. And no one with a mom or a wife or a daughter should have to think about that. And no woman should have to go through that. So, yes, to ICE, my message is stay the out of California. I think that's the message that every leader has to deliver across the country, because we're better than them. We're going to get through this, and there's going to be good on the other side. But right now, we need leadership, and we need to go on offense.
So they're just escalating the tensions. They're escalating the rhetoric. They are hyping up their useful idiots as cannon fodder to serve the cause. They don't care if more of them gets hurt. They want more of them to get hurt. You know how good this is for business? You know how good this is for the election? You know how well that worked out in 2020 when they had people burning down stores for 4 months before the election? All right, coming up next, good news. Fantastic news on the economy. Spencer McGowan's going to break down the latest jobs report. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, so how's the economy doing in the middle of all this Minneapolis talk? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. I heard them talking about the good economic news today before the James Show. Now we're going to get a quick update with Spencer McGowan from Net Worth Radio here on the weekends. And before we even get into the numbers, I hear are you expanding the show, Spencer? There you go. Just want to get that out. Yeah, I just want to get it out there first. Of course, of course. What's the other host? Oh, well, I'll take that, of course. Compliments are always welcome on the James Show. But Spencer McGowan, I didn't want to talk about how damn smart I am. I wanted to talk about how the unemployment report came out for last month, December, and unemployment actually went down a tick. Yeah. You can try. Hit me. When was the last time we had above 5% growth, not counting the convulsions around COVID? Wow. Okay, so it's been a while. Oh, please do. I always enjoy that. Yeah, or 100% if you calculate it going forward. They predicted 1.7 and it was almost 3.4. So yeah, there's two ways to look at that. But they get everything wrong, Spencer. That they have a terrible history when it comes to predictions. It's the same thing we say about the CBO. They're like, well, the CBO scored it and says it's only going to raise the deficit by X amount of dollars. And then when you actually get to that time frame, it's exploded exponentially. So not surprised that the predictions have fallen short. Please. Yeah. Now that's definitely impacted by the tariffs. Go ahead. This is Spencer McGowan, Net Worth Radio, hitting you with some extra details behind the scenes of the jobs report. Go ahead. Well, that's fantastic news. Too bad the headlines are crowded out so much with, Venezuela and Minneapolis for the shooting and Minneapolis for the fraud. And, now we got the oil companies meeting in the White House right now. But I thought it was really important to stop down and look at some of these economic numbers because they're good and people should get some good news when they deserve it. And I don't know, that makes me pretty optimistic about 2026. I also saw that the markets love the report. And the Dow Jones is getting really close to 50,000. Hit me. Will do. All right. Solid advice from Spencer McGowan. You can hear more of that on the weekends here on WBAP. Net Worth Radio with Spencer McGowan comes on at 4 o'clock on Saturdays and now 2 o'clock on Sundays. Congrats on the extra hour, Spencer McGowan. Thanks for spending some time with the James Show. Thank you. I appreciate that again. More compliments. Parker at WBAP.com. They can be had there. Coming up next, I have some very disappointing sound bites in reaction to the Minneapolis ICE shooting. You'll hear it next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So I think things are going to escalate after the Minneapolis shooting. This is the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I don't want them to escalate. I wish they wouldn't escalate. And I know that's what I said yesterday, but I feel even more strongly about it today because this new video release of the ICE shooting in Minneapolis, the reaction to it, I think, is every bit as important as what you see in the video itself, because it doesn't matter what video comes out or what happens in the investigation. The woman's not coming back. It's a terrible tragedy. I wish it wouldn't have happened. It's ugly. I'm sad for the whole situation. But I am seeing what looks like new evidence that should clear up everyone's opinion and turn it into, well, that's just the facts on the ground. They're just solidified even further in their position. So that's number one. We're not going to get the silver bullet that ends the debate and we can finally say, well, you're right and I'm wrong, or I'm right and you're wrong. No, it's the gray area, and it's perfect for exploitation. Precisely because it's a gray area, precisely because it's a Rorschach test where Team Blue can see what they want to see and Team Red can see what they want to see. Therefore, we will constantly be in conflict over this situation. That's why the George Floyd story was so useful and got so much attention. You know, they're not really concerned about cops killing people. They're not really concerned about cops killing black people or killing women or anybody specific. It's just the ones that divide us. You only get the amplification of these stories where there is a gray area, like the Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf's, the stabbing in Frisco last year. Perfect example of that. They don't actually hype up the police shootings that kill an unarmed black man if we all agree that that was a good shot or that was a bad shot. Why? Because it doesn't divide us. And it would serve, if they did highlight it as much, it would serve as a reminder to the people who live in their own bubbles, you know, Team Blue bubbles, Team Red bubbles, that we actually do get along and we do agree on most things. And we're not bloodthirsty, savage fascists. And we can call balls and strikes when they're apparent, no matter the race of the perp nor the victim. But no, this is going to be exploited. This is very valuable. You know, the speculation is out there that they've been hoping for something like this because it's an election year. I don't know, man. Don't they usually just save this stuff for presidential election years? Of course, the answer to that's like, yeah, usually. But it's kind of hard to argue against it. They're not fanning the flames. The reaction to this it's just so bad. I was playing you a little bit of it earlier. I played you Eric Swalwell. I played you the DA in Philly. I played you. You know what? Let's go ahead and do the Jasmine Crockett part here, because there's like 4 clips from her on this.
Jasmine Crockett, queen of the liberal tea.
Bleach blonde, bad built butch body, Governor Hot Wheels, and he is a hot ass mess, honey.
Queen of the liberal tea.
Today's episode, What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time, is brought to you by the Whiskey and Rye Bar in the Omni Hotel in Fort Worth, while I'll be doing a live broadcast next Thursday. Jasmine cried. Now, I'm going to play you first the audio from the viral video that's going around, and then I went back and I found the actual hearing, and I cut out I give you a little more context, about 30 seconds in the beginning and 30 more seconds after the clip. But here's the clip that got circulated today.
I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you remember what our response was? Our response wasn't to sit there and pretend like it was okay. Is it okay because you have a badge? Because the last time I checked, allegedly no one is above the law. Can y'all not just have a little bit of courage and humanity? A child.
All right, so that's what's being passed around. Before I go play the whole thing in context, just ask yourself, did she cry? She cried when this woman was killed by ICE. Did she cry when Charlie Kirk was killed? Did she cry when ICE agents were shot in Alvarado? Did she cry when it doesn't fit the narrative, is kind of what I'm getting at? Now, you know the answer to that. Of course not. But let me play the whole thing in context, and then you'll get a little more feeling like, is this performative? Is this a genuine cry? I guess is what I'm asking you right now.
Thank you so much. It is it is so hard to sit here sometimes because I didn't come to Congress to write laws or to do things that are hurting people. I'm just asking if there's any decency or heart or courage on that side of the aisle. The fact that a woman was killed, she was shot in her head, and y'all are pretending like nothing happened. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you? Do you remember what our response was? Our response wasn't to sit there and pretend like it was okay. Is it okay because you have a badge? Because the last time I checked, allegedly no one is above the law. Can y'all not just have a little bit of courage and humanity? A child. A child has lost her mom. And y'all want to pretend that it is okay. I am asking if there is anyone that will stand for the very people that elected us and sent us to Congress.
I am so skeptical of politicians crying. Did she cry when Charlie Kirk got murdered in front of all of our faces? Did she cry about the Jewish people that got blowtorched by the pro-Palestinian guy in Boulder, Colorado? Did she cry at the 2 Jews that were murdered in D.C. by the Free Palestine guy? Did she cry for the fellow Americans that were run over by the Free Palestine guy on Bourbon Street last year? Did she cry when the United Health CEO got assassinated by Luigi Mangione? Did she cry when there was 2 fatal Chaz shootings in the Occupy? I mean, she wasn't in Congress back then, but I bet you can't find it. Did she cry about the woman who was set on fire on the train in Chicago? Did she cry about the woman who's burned to death on the train in Brooklyn? Did she cry at the Ukrainian girl that was stabbed to death on the train in Charlotte? Did she cry for Austin Metcalf when he was stabbed in Frisco by Carmelo Anthony? No, but this woman gets tears. I'm not buying it. Coming up next, though, this little hearing where that clip comes from, when we continue, it'll fall off the rails because she has to drop an F-bomb. You'll hear it next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Three funny guys. They got a millennial, a Gen Xer, and a boomer. And they absolutely savage the headlines of the day. Check them out from 11 to 2 before the James Show. We're in the middle of today's episode of What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time? It's an extended edition because I have four different things she said this time. I was playing you before the break there how she cried. She cried at a congressional hearing yesterday, and it was over this woman that was shot by the ICE agent in Minneapolis. And so we were, kind of pointing out some obvious stuff. Did she ever cry when any of these other situations, and what's so different about this one? And is it even real, or is it performative? Not sure. It's hard to just read someone's mind there. It is interesting to point out the obvious change in tone, whether it's an Ashley Babbitt or Renee Good. But we continue in the hearing, and this part didn't go viral, and I wish it did, because you're going to hear her. She drops an F-bomb. It's bleeped. Don't worry. But Darrell Issa is the Republican holding the gavel and chairing whatever committee meeting hearing this is. And then you can hear Eric Swalwell, who I already played for you, telling ICE to stay the F out of California, except saying the whole thing. He comes in and is like, oh, does it hurt your little princess feelings? And so you hear some more smart mouthing out of this clip. But this is what Congress was doing yesterday.
The mayor of Minneapolis told y'all to get the out. Yet y'all are the ones, it is this administration that is bringing crime to their streets. That's what's happening.
It's the third incident where somebody has dropped an F-bomb in this committee, including the video.
I'm sorry.
Including the video that we had to watch earlier.
Are your princess ears okay?
Is it profanity?
The committee's
House of Representatives.
The committee. You are about the fact that a woman.
Are you
The House
soft?
of Representatives.
The gentlelady.
Are we offending your princess ears? Are they that soft?
All members will.
Well, maybe some of the
suspend.
kids out there.
Mr. Chairman, it is the
You're
gentlelady's
killing
time.
them.
Kids.
It is the gentlelady's time. Let's let her have her time.
Well, and I almost feel sorry for her because she kind of gets lost in the shuffle there. Do you hear her kind of squealing in the background, but no one's paying attention to her because they're too busy arguing with each other? Is that your princess ears? Yeah, to make that comment if someone drops an N-bomb in there, Eric Swalwell, see if you're so flippant about vulgarity then. But listen in the background, though.
Including the
Are
video
your
that we
princess-
had to watch
Are
earlier.
Are your princess ears okay?
Is it profanity?
The committee's ears
The House of Representatives.
The committee. You are about the fact that a woman.
Are you
The House
soft?
of Representatives.
Yeah, you hear that? You're more upset about my words than the fact that a woman's killed. But she talks about how, this isn't how we reacted when Charlie Kirk was killed. If you didn't hear that earlier, she's crying over
I
it.
remember when Charlie Kirk got killed.
Yes, let's go remember.
Do you remember what our response was?
Yeah, first off, you voted against the Charlie Kirk memorial resolution because he's such a racist. Here you
a
are.
resolution that came before the House this past week honoring Charlie Kirk. And there were 58 Democrats who voted against it. You were one.
Yeah,
Why?
absolutely. You know what? One of the things I do want to point out that's not been laid out that honestly hurts my heart is when I saw the no votes, there were only 2 Caucasians. For the most part, the only people that voted no were people of color because the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was specifically to us. And I can tell you.
Yeah, that's enough. That was her September 22nd of last year. Yeah, we remember how y'all were when Charlie Kirk got shot. Y'all were celebrating it. Yeah, we don't have to go back through all the audio, but look, I'll play you one. Here's one.
Members. Whatever his name was.
Charlie Kirk, ma'am?
Yeah, him is horrible. Horrible.
Charlie Kirk is horrible?
Yes, I'm glad he's not here.
You're glad he's dead?
Yes.
Hear him cheering?
Why would you say something like that, ma'am?
Because he was horrible on the campuses, the college campuses. Horrible person.
You know what? I do the exact same thing.
Well,
would you be glad if I...
So here's AOC. Charlie Kirk was a bad guy right after he got shot.
His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from the working tirelessly to...
Yeah. We don't have to beat the guy in the ground, but needless to say, yeah, we do remember how you were over Charlie Kirk. Y'all were far more of a ghoul than we're being about this Minneapolis ICE shooting victim. JD Vance isn't out there saying he's celebrating her, this is a good deal, or she was a terrible person. He actually said he's sad for her. I said I'm sad for her. We all think it's a sad situation. No one's celebrating the fact that she's dead. We don't think it's murder. We don't think it's behavior that should be encouraged in the future. There's some good lessons to be learned from this, but there's not like a just volcano of hate spewing out of Team Red right now. Calm down. All right, coming up on the James Show, we have another protester out there, takes a weird angle on this, and inserts race. How can you insert race into the Minneapolis ICE shooting? Find out next on the James Show. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Happy Friday, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Hey, I know, good to see you too. I know you're all excited because in 30 minutes we're going to get another installment of Garrett's World. Give it up for Garrett's World, the hottest new radio segment sweeping North Texas. But right now we're still looking at not so much the ICE shooting itself that happened in Minneapolis, but more importantly now, the aftermath, the reaction to it. Are we really going to use this as a chance to turn down the temperature and back off the heated rhetoric? And of course not. They didn't do it after Trump got shot in the ear. They didn't do it after Charlie Kirk got assassinated. They're not going to do it now. If they didn't do it after all these other ICE attacks, this is working for them. This is good for them. This helps them. You realize how much of this sick stuff is being allowed to go on? I mean, stuff that's clearly immoral, unethical, illogical, just because it helps Team Blue. Why? Why would they allow mass illegal immigration and mass legal immigration that's not good for this country? Because it's good for Team Blue. Why would they allow them to just come in here and hop on welfare and stay on welfare for 10, 20 years after they've been here? Is that good for the country? Is that good for you, the taxpayer? No, that's good for Team Blue. Why would they let them rob all these welfare systems and programs? Is that good for the country, the taxpayer? No, that's good for Team Blue. Keeps a committed voting block. A lot of that money ends up back in the pockets of these people. All they got to do is look the other way. Why do you think Tim Walz was chosen to be Kamala Harris's running mate? This isn't ancient history. This is just a year and a half ago. Was he a better candidate than Josh Shapiro or Gavin Newsom? Or could he raise more money? Because there was a lot of people who were shocked that when after he was announced to be the vice presidential nominee, remember they were bragging on how the fundraising went through the roof? Yeah, we added Tim Walz to the ticket. We raised $35 million in the first week. Well, now we know where that money's coming from, right? But look, let's not beat up on the politicians. Let's talk about the people on the ground. What causes someone to want to do this? What causes someone to not only want to block ICE, but then when something bad happens, they got to go out there and they got to cuss ICE and tell them it's bad and we need to keep the illegals here and I don't care if they're defrauding us. They're lying about all that. Let's check out this one protester. Someone put a microphone in front of her face, and this is some heartbreaking stuff, but you need to digest it.
So, I mean, I'm just walking around kind of just dazed because I was like, I don't know if it's the right thing to do. It feels kind of wrong being here in some way. I don't know why.
And why do you think, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, like, where that stems from. Like, I mean, part of it is being like a white woman that I'm privileged and I have a lot of privilege. So I feel like white tears are not always something that's helpful or necessary when black and brown people have been experiencing this for a long time. This isn't new for them. And so I don't know if that makes any sense in that way.
How did you decide that you should be here? Or are you still figuring that out?
Well, I work like 2 miles from here. So driving by, it was like, I'm here. I'm 2 miles. I can stop. So, I mean, I'm just walking around kind of just dazed.
All right. The heartbreaking part of that, she discounts her own tears because of the color of her skin. I don't know if my white tears mean anything. I'm just a white person. I'm just a white woman. I don't even know if I should be here. So you're discounting your own opinion. You're putting value on something based solely on the color of your skin. You know, the definition of racism is the belief that certain groups of people are better or worse based solely on the color of their skin, based solely on their race. So she's an anti-white racist, or that sounds like something that would fit the philosophy of an anti-white racist. I bet you if you put a microphone in front of her face and ask if you're an anti-white racist, I don't think she would say yes. But you see this happening over and over and over. People didn't want to stop the Somali grift because calling out Somalis, you risk looking like a racist. That's terrible. People don't want ICE to go out and do their jobs because, oh my goodness, they're picking on brown people. I don't want to be racist. There's a couple of other weird things that are going on here. And it's not just about this one issue. This happens over and over and over. For decades now, we've been screwing over qualified students from top universities based solely on the color of their skin. And we don't want to say anything about it. Why? Because we don't want to sound racist. Well, it's getting ridiculous to where this level of self-hatred is showing up in the real world. There was a statistic being passed around that said in 1900, 38% of the world population was white. Now it's only 8%. And I was like, that doesn't sound true. Looked it up. Okay, if you take the extreme estimates, that's pretty close to true, if not right on the money. Now, there are more white people now than in 1900, but just barely. And with all the new technology and nutrition and science and medicine, we've seen the populations of pretty much every other demographic of people explode on planet Earth. And we've talked about this before. There is a level of suicidal empathy that you and I are both witnessing. Matt Walsh addressed this 2 days ago in a video.
Why was Carmelo Anthony allowed to receive his diploma? He killed an unarmed white kid and then lied to police about stashing his knife in the bleachers. And it seems like the kind of thing that should disqualify you from graduating. I don't know. And while we're at it, what evidence was there that Derek Chauvin actually killed George Floyd? Even the jury told CNN they didn't actually think Chauvin killed Floyd. They convicted Chauvin because, in their view, he didn't demonstrate enough compassion to a man who was clearly overdosing of his own accord. And while we're at it, why were the prosecutors allowed to lie to the jury about the relative amount of fentanyl in Floyd's system by comparing his blood samples to samples from overdose victims that were taken long after their deaths? Until we get serious answers to these questions, don't talk to us about the Cinnabon woman who had a bad day. Okay, she's not a hero or martyr, but she is the predictable result of decades of anti-white propaganda that has destroyed far too many lives. And like the Cinnabon woman, we are all tired of it.
Now, I don't think this is necessarily a race thing coming from the Marxists. This is the party that wants tyranny. This is the party that wants fascism. They want communism. They want socialism. And the one thing that stands in the way all over the planet is Western civilization. We're the ones who just kicked it out of Venezuela. We're the ones who kicked it out of Russia. We're the ones who squished them in the Cold War. We got it kicked out of Romania and Hungary and Czechoslovakia and Poland and all the other countries that tried it. We got it kicked out of Ethiopia. We got it kicked out of Taiwan and kept it kicked out of Taiwan. We got it kicked out of the north half of the Korean Peninsula. There has not been a bigger enemy to socialism in history than people from Western civilization, and that just happens to be a subset of white people. So no, they're not after white people. They're not trying to extinguish white people. They're trying to extinguish Western civilization. They're trying to exchange the evil individual capitalism from their terrible exploitive system to their utopian socialist system. And they know, unless they can do something about us, every time it's tried, we stop them. So what do we do about that? Gad Saad explains next. He's the author of The Parasitic Mind, but he put out a video. It's about 4 minutes long. I'll play you the whole thing coming up on The James Show. 800-288-9227. Are they trying to genocide us? 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. Happy Friday. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. So if you're just joining us, we were talking about how so many of these stories have a weird racial angle to them. There was a lady who was questioning her legitimacy in protesting the death of the woman at the hands of the ICE agent in Minneapolis a couple days ago, and she was saying, I don't even know if I have a right to be out here, deserve to be out here, if it means anything, because I'm white, and my white tears don't mean anything. It's like that's a weird level of sort of race-based self-hatred. But when you see some of these other stories, why did the Somali fraud go unquestioned for so long? People were worried about being called racist. Well, why is the George Floyd issue, why did that have so many people upset, and they were burning down their downtowns in dozens of cities? It's all about racism. So much of this seems to be about racism, but I'm trying to make the point that politically speaking, the Marxists, the leftists, they don't really care about race. They're not racist. Now, they'll exploit the existing racial tensions throughout American history to push their agenda forward. They will use the useful idiots who are motivated by racial talk to be their cannon fodder in the streets. But make no mistake about it. They don't hate us because of the color of our skin. They hate us because of our ideas. They hate us because Western civilization has stopped their utopia everywhere it's tried. Well, I mean, stopped it from expanding. If you just contain it, it implodes on a long enough time scale. And so that's the real thing. And for the white supremacists, like the Nick Fuentes of the world, love to glom onto this. See, they hate you. They hate white people. No, they don't hate you because of the color of your skin. They hate you because you stand up to them. They hate you because people from Western civilization, most notably white men, but it could be anyone who adopts our principles, we're the ones who grab our guns and fight the tyrants off over and over in history. In fact, we're pretty much the only country that hasn't had a for real tyrant. Ever. So Gad Saad, I think he pronounced it sad, actually. It just is S-A-A-D. I read his book, The Parasitic Mind. Started following him on social media, and every once in a while, he just drops some gems here because he's in the same boat. He's a person of color. He's originally Lebanese by way of Canada. And so as a person of color, and I believe he's Jewish too. So he has a couple of strikes there in the intersectionality scorecard. He talks about what's really the underlying issue here in saving Western civilization. And I'm not sure we understand that or have the guts to stand up for it.
Hi, everybody. This is Gad Saad. In order for the West to win this civilizational battle, it must, 1, proudly and unequivocally defend Western values. 2, reject cultural relativism and the unicornia vision of multiculturalism. 3, recommit to individual dignity over the celebration of collective identity politics. 4, recognize that all cultures are not equal. 5, recognize that all religious beliefs are not equally consistent with Western values. 6, recognize that all immigrants are not equally likely to assimilate and adopt Western values. 7, recognize that immigrants who espouse intolerable values that seek to destroy our civilization will be deported en masse. 8, implement a rational immigration policy that recognizes the importance of cultural homophily, which is basically the idea of choosing immigrants who hail from cultures that possess similar values to those of the host nations. 9, exhibit zero tolerance for seditious belief systems. Such systems can be criminalized if they constitute an existential threat to our freedoms and liberties. I could go on, but the latter 9 items, some of which are correlated, would be a good start. Here's the problem. I don't think that the West has the testicular fortitude to implement more than a small subset of the latter 9. Hence, to reiterate a prediction that I've been making for several decades, the West is in a death spiral. It will be ugly, painful, and bloody. The greatest tragedy is that the West brought this on itself because of parasitic, quote, progressive follies. The most dangerous weapon in nature is a human mind infected by ideological parasites. Have a good day, everybody.
800-288-9227. Your response. This is Michael in Dallas. You're on WBAP.
Yeah, so I don't think they're practicing genocide against whites. We're practicing genocide on ourselves with our lower birth rates. The other birth rates in the Asian cultures and the Hispanic cultures are much higher than ours. What's a tragedy is that the best system for human freedom and economic growth is by far and unequivocally Western civilization and its ideas of individual freedom and capitalism, and that's what they're trying to exterminate.
Yeah, and well, it's not much better over in parts of East Asia because I think South Korea has a much lower birth rate than even we do. They might be the lowest in the world. This seems to be something that just goes along with being a developed country. As soon as you get to some level of standard of living and technology and lifestyle and luxury, that seems to go with it's like obesity. We thought obesity was just like a problem with American culture, like Americans are gluttonous because all these other countries aren't fat like we are. Turns out we could just afford food before they could, because now that Mexico can afford all the food they want, they're even fatter than us some years. And that's not a Western European enriched country. That's a Latin American country. So the declining birth rates, I don't know if it's necessarily something wrong with Western civilization. I think it just goes along with being wealthy, because I wouldn't consider, like, Japan has a lower birth rate than we do too. I wouldn't consider South Korea and Japan Western civilization, but they do have a whole lot in common with us. And in fact, that's kind of the only part of the planet that we consider a first world country that's not white.
Yes, that's true. I'm talking in the more global terms that generally there are more whites in the more developed countries, and we're all experiencing lower birth rates. And
yes,
it's not just America and the top economies. It's the same in Russia.
Well,
in general, we're experiencing lower birth rates than across Asia and across Africa and across this.
Well, I like how you're blaming ourselves, because no one is doing it to us. This is sort of an auto genocide, and you see throughout history other civilizations have just genocided themselves, that just dwindled and dwindled and dwindled until they are no longer in the history books. Make no mistake about it. He's right. We are doing this to ourselves. But really, it's the birth rates are so different based on ideology, because conservatives and libertarians and religious people tend to have a lot more kids than non-believers. And me and Miss Parker have 4 kids. Hi, Miss Parker. We have a lot of liberal friends. None of them have more than 1 kid. I think one of them has 2 kids. That is it. So really, I mean, this whole liberalism thing, is it going to solve its own problem? I mean, if you abort half your kids and the ones that actually make it out, you encourage them to either be gay or trans or childless or double income, no kids, or just wait so long then it's too late, or maybe just have one. It's almost like a self-correcting mechanism. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. How do we save Western civilization? Maybe John Rocker can help. You'll hear that next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, sports fans. James Parker here for Prize Picks. Now, there was a big game last night in the football playoffs, and if you're playing regular old fuddy-duddy fantasy football, you didn't get to have any fun with that, because regular fantasy football, the fun ends when the regular season ends. But Prize Picks just mashes the gas in the playoffs, and you can keep going until a champ is crowned. And that's the cool thing. It's daily fantasy sports. I played the old fantasy sports. I thought it was just that on an app. It's not. It's something different. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more fluid. You don't have to have any friends. You don't have to have a draft. You don't have to coordinate. You don't have to wait an entire week to have fun. You can just go to Prize Picks right now and make a lineup of 2 to 6 players. You look at a bunch of statistics, and if one of them looks a little off to you, you pick more or less on it. You do that for 2 to 6 players. You can win up to 2,000 times your money. So there's another playoff game coming up. What is it? Indiana and Oregon. Well, go look. If you know what's going to happen in that game, you've got some good insights, go turn that into some money. Download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP. You get $50 with your first $5 lineup. That's $50 in lineups when you use promo code WBAP after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, It's good to be right. Happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Well, on Fridays at 3:35, it's a new tradition here on WBAP. We do Garrett's World. Now, I'm your host, James Parker. On the other side of this double-pane glass is the producer for the James Show. His name's Garrett. He's one of many Garretts. His backup is Garrett when I go on a remote next week at the Whiskey and Rye at the Omni in Fort Worth. The guy that's engineering the remote, his name's Garrett. But this specific Garrett, in today's Garrett's World, kids get out of the car, right? And that's sort of the warning. If you're a younger kid, say under the age of 10 or so, you might just want to turn it off and come back in about 2 minutes, all right? This is today's Garrett's World.
So, just a heads up. If you have kids listening near you, you might want to ask them to leave the area. This is a story about Santa Claus and other holiday icons. So, when I was really little, my parents had made the decision that they would never flat out tell me Santa doesn't exist and would let me figure it out on my own. And when I did, they would tell me the truth. That is exactly what happened. They had always hyped up Santa Claus for me, and for the first 6 years of my life, I truly believed he was real. That is, until 2004, when I was 7. I was starting to realize that many of the gifts I had received over the years didn't really line up with what Santa was traditionally shown to deliver. Instead of bears and toy soldiers, I got movies, soundtracks, books, video games, and franchise-specific action figures. Things I had also seen at Target and Toys R Us. Finally, I built up the courage to ask my parents the dreadful question. Is Santa Claus real? Mind you, I waited well after Christmas that year. You know, just in case. My parents were a little thrown off at the moment. I'm not sure they were ready for me to figure it out at such a young age. However, they gathered themselves together and confirmed the hard truth. I think it was just as hard for them to tell me Santa wasn't real as it was for me to figure out he wasn't. I then started realizing if Santa didn't really exist, then that means the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy, both of which I also held a strong belief in, weren't real either. My parents also confirmed this with me, but they also told me something very important. They may not be real, but do you know who is? Jesus. And that's a belief I've held on to ever since, and even before then. I've never forgotten that while the commercial icons of both Christmas and Easter may not exist, the reason we celebrate the holidays, that being the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, absolutely do, and will remain forever and always. I end with a quote from one of my favorite Christmas movies, The Polar Express. Sometimes seeing is believing. And sometimes, the most real things in the world are the things we can't see.
That's today's Garrett's World. See, this is what I'm talking about. He's so wholesome, it's suspicious. And Garrett, I'm glad you were able to share that story because 2025 was a rough year for you. It was... Do you have anything more recent for Garrett's World? These are all childhood stories. Like, what are you like Jesus? We don't know what you did between 12 and 30. I like that. I also I like this because the people listening to the James Show get to share watching you grow, watching the evolution of this segment. Because I've said in meetings, I don't know if I said this on the air, but 1 year from now, Garrett's World is going to sound way different. You are going to evolve. You are going to change. You are going to learn. You're going to get better. And so just like, the first song that a songwriter writes, he's not going to be proud of it a year later. The first time you play violin, it's going to make that screechy, terrible sound. You're not going to be proud of that a year later. So I'm looking forward to watching this evolution along with the other people who listen to this show. But Garrett, we got to get some wilder stories out of you, bud. We've got to. Can you get in a car wreck? Can you get arrested? Can you get in a fist fight or something? I don't know, break a beer bottle and try and stab someone with it? Or, I mean, I'm not encouraging that. I'm just saying something along those lines. Not at the moment. All right. Coming up next, the investigative journalist that is running circles around all the networks and news outlets, besides, of course, Nick and Dave, who busted the Somali daycares. You're going to hear a report from John Rocker. Some of you are going, why? Other people are going, who's John Rocker? John Rocker used to be a pitcher in the major leagues back in like the 90s, and he's best known for saying horrible things about the foreigners on the New York subway in an interview. You'll hear his audio next, where he goes and he does a little investigative reporting on the accounting firms that were contracted by the state to audit the Somali daycares and all these other programs. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. I hope we see more reporting on this starting tomorrow. And so much of the news cycle does this, where some enterprising person on the ground, whether it's an independent journalist or just a fellow citizen with a cell phone in his hand, starts a story that takes a while for people to pick up, write stories, go confirm, do a little investigating of their own, maybe add in, maybe make some graphics or whatever, and then they start cranking it out in a little bit. Because this almost sounds too good to be true, and too bad to be true, I should say. But John Rocker, who in the 90s was a pitcher, I remember him playing for the Braves, and then he played, I think it was for the Yankees for a while, wasn't it? And he got in a lot of attention because in an interview with, I think it was New Yorker magazine or something to that effect, he talked about how riding on the subway was dangerous and full of smelly foreigners and trash, and it's just a terrible place to live because it looked like the bar scene from Star Wars. And he was just slagging New York City, but a lot of the focus on it was like, oh man, can you believe how racist he is? And it was like, hang on. New York City! Is what he said true? Is the subway really dirty? Is it a dangerous place? Is there a lot of crime? Does it stink? So fast forward to now. Let's just go ahead and skip over a whole lot of narrative and just land here. So he's turned into a pretty political animal these days, and it's whatever. I mean, I kind of agree with him, but when you listen to this guy talk for a long time, you're like, oh, I don't think he's very smart. Just because I agree with him, I don't have to think he's smart, right? Well, he looks smart in this video because according to him, the accounting firms that were tasked by the state of Minnesota, they got the contracts to run audits of these social programs, Feeding the Future and the daycare and the home health care and the autism centers and whatnot. Some of these accounting firms are also run by people who have Somali looking names. So John Rocker went to go check them out. Well, let's go to this accounting firm. Let's see, what's this address? Blah, 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 blah. Put that in the phone. Okay, so John Rocker's going to show up with one of his friends, and his friend's got a cell phone and is talking to him. And they show up at this building, and not only is there no cars in the parking lot, there's not even any lights on. There's not even any sign that even the electricity is turned on. There's not even any sign that anyone's been in there in months, if not years. It looks like a totally abandoned building. Now, again, I don't know how much I trust John Rocker. I don't know. Maybe he went at the wee hours of the morning on a weekend. But if all this tracks out to be true, there's just a whole nother layer of stink on this. So the people that were hired to oversee the Somali fraud, were they themselves Somalis participating in the fraud? So what are they doing? They're not actually doing the audit. They're just taking millions of dollars from the taxpayers. It makes it even worse. So here's John Rocker at a door that looks like it's welded shut. No joke. It looks like it's just a medium-sized grocery store. But none of the doors were open.
Doors welded shut. That's normal. Isn't that a fire hazard?
Isn't that a good start, though? Effing doors welded shut. He does a voice that I do when I affect when I'm making fun of hicky people like him. And I'm not making fun of hicks. I am a hick. I'm from the country. I just crawled out of a log cabin, fell off a hay trailer last month. But even for me, that's funny. Effing door look welded shut, man.
Doors welded shut. That's normal. Isn't that a fire hazard? To weld your doors shut? Seriously.
That's wild.
That's a welded right there. So was that one right over there.
Well, Rocker, what do you think? How good of a job you think they're doing in there at auditing?
Well, they don't even have floors or lights now, so not very good. But I'm sure when it was open, they were doing they did a hell of a job. I'm sure it was open. Like I said, not exactly Arthur Anderson.
An Arthur Anderson joke. That was younger people. Arthur Anderson was a famous accounting firm that went under for helping Enron cook the books. It was a whole scandal thing. But all right. So can more people do this? Because if this turns out to be true, and I have such a hard time believing that it's just really that easy. You just look up these things online, you go to the address, boom, we've busted fraud. Clearly, this is not a fully functioning accounting firm. It's not a fully functioning anything. It's not even a functioning building. They don't even put up the facade of an accounting firm. They didn't even put up a misspelled sign. that said Arthur Aderson or something. I don't know what they would put up there. But if John Rocker just did circles around all the investigative reporters from the big networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News, this is really pathetic on just how easy and open and brazen and blatant the fraud has been. And some of this is your money. There's federal matching dollars with a lot of these programs. This is your money. This is how easy it is for someone to move here from a country with an average IQ of 4. And I'm kidding, it's like 72, but it's really low, y'all. To just come here, sign up for benefits, and get millions and millions of your dollars with no oversight, with no checks, no balances, no confirmation. Look at how easy it is to rob you via the government. And I still have people who push back when I say things like, well, we need to get charity out of the hands of government, or we need to end social programs. We need to end all social programs. We need to handle this with the private sector. I don't know, Parker. I don't know if we have enough money to do that. We don't have enough money to keep doing this. And it's sad that a half-witted baseball pitcher is running circles around the investigative abilities of the news networks. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next on The James Show, young people, we're tired of hearing about your anxiety. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Happy Friday, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 829.33 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Oh, show a little enthusiasm. It's Friday, for God's sakes. There you go. Yeah. And look, I got a message here for younger people, especially. But look, this applies to people about my age, too. This is not a problem with people older than me. I will give you boomers credit in this. You don't run around all day in person, in text messages, in group chats, on social media, on TV, in reality shows, griping about your anxiety. Here's comedian Jeff Dye.
The young people here tonight, no one cares about your anxiety. Not a single person. You don't have to keep telling us about it. Tell maybe some of your close friends. You could definitely tell your therapist, but other than that, shut the up about it. No one. You don't have to tell every Uber driver that's going to listen. Can you put the window up because I get anxiety? Like, we don't care. Grow up. Remember when we had Shame? You know, who also has anxiety? Everyone that's ever been alive ever. If you're a human being, you have anxiety. When my grandpa was fighting for this great country in a foxhole, you think he turned to his buddy in the foxhole like, "Hey, Gary, I think I'm having some anxiety." Yeah. Shoot. Let's get out of here.
You know, there's a lot of truth to that. That's why it's so funny. Is there a lot of truth to that? Because the context that young people don't understand is how easy they have it, how awesome their life is. And you can't blame them for not knowing. They've never known a life without the luxuries and creature comforts that they enjoy every day. Of course, they're spoiled compared to me, but compared to my parents, I'm spoiled. Compared to their parents, they're spoiled. But never has it come down to this whole anxiety thing. I'm not convinced that therapy is really a thing that needs to be done as much as it's been done. Now, if you've gone through something, if you saw your parents, killed in front of your face, or, you're the victim of a very abusive childhood, perhaps you need therapy. But you people who've had just a smooth middle-class lifestyle your entire life, you've never missed a meal, you've never been beaten, you've never been arrested, you've never had to kill anybody or witness any serious traumatic event, you're going to therapy? Now, I think you're just bored. I think you just need a friend. Because there's something noble in the ability to have problems, have turmoil, and have the inside of you feel like a tornado's going on in there. But your outward appearance is stoic, serene, chill. That's what makes a good leader. But also, it's just so frustrating because I think part of this, I don't want to say it's our fault. I've done a great job raising my kids. But for all these, 20-somethings that are having to go to therapy, I think your parents were just too nice to you. I think your parents should have been buttheads to you a little bit more. I think maybe you probably would have been served if you had a little more bullying in your life. We had bullying when I was growing up, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was kind of essential into forming me into the man I am now. I have a feeling like maybe this woman that got shot in Minneapolis, maybe she'd be taking life more serious if she was doing her little smart aleck, poking at people and antagonizing people and just being a butthead. If she had gotten punched in the face a few times as she was a kid, maybe she would have minded her own business. I used to have a bigger mouth than I have now. Can you believe that? As bombastic and as free-flowing and as offensive and abrasive as I am, I used to be worse. But you know what happened? Luckily, I ran into some bully who punched me for it. I ran my mouth to him. I made fun of him, probably scored some very hurtful insults lobbed at his way. And you know what? Just generally speaking, I don't really mouth off to strangers like that anymore. I don't really mouth off to people I know like that anymore. Why? Because, every once in a while you get punched in the face. I don't get road rage. I don't gripe at people who cut in line at Walmart. Why? I don't know what that person's been through. I don't know if they're a psychopath who's just looking for a reason to hurt the world around him. I don't know if he's a crazy person. I don't know if he's the nicest person in the world. Maybe he's in a big hurry. Maybe his kid's in the hospital and he's trying to hurry up and get back. But you just learn to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I don't have, what am I to be anxious about? What, there's predators out there now? It's a violent world. There's crime everywhere. You know, it used to be worse. In fact, it was worse when we were kids. We just didn't know about it. So here's another comedian to make another great point, building on the other comedian. This is Des Bishop, talking about how in the past it wasn't safer. Gun crime was higher in the early 90s than it is now. Children abductions were higher. Fights, violent crime, robberies, car thefts, these were all higher in the late 80s and early 90s than they are now. But why are we acting like it's so unsafe that we can't play outside? We can't go down and play at the park unsupervised. We can't let our kids walk down the sidewalk unsupervised. Why? Because it's so dangerous now. Well, if we could do it when we were kids, what changed? It got safer. That doesn't make any sense.
And of course, guys my age, people, my friends, we love to wax lyrical about the good old days of going outside to play on your own. And then young people always say, yeah, but you could go outside and play back in the day because society was safer back then. Wrong. Society was not safer back then. We just didn't know how unsafe it was. Watch any of these Netflix documentaries. They all begin the same way. Somebody goes, back then we just didn't know. We didn't know. We were clueless. Predators everywhere. A van could have pulled up and been like, hey kids, get in. We would have been like, yeah, we've seen Scooby-Doo. Let's ride. Let's go. Once we don't go to the abandoned amusement park, I think we're going to be okay. And yes, I know. There were some children kidnapped in the 1980s. But I think it's a worthy sacrifice for 7 or 8 kids on a milk carton for the millions upon millions of happy childhoods that happened as a result of their sacrifice. And it has not gone unnoticed. Thank you for your service.
Love it. Coming up next on The James Show, Nate Bargatze, one of the newest stars in the comedy world, was asked why he refuses to do political comedy. You'll hear his answer next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, happy Friday, and welcome to the James Show. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker, on your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. They're on 11 to 2, funny guys before me. If you don't already know and love them, I encourage you to check them out. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to play Name That Artist for tickets to see Our Lady Peace. And in honor of that, our mix of songs is going to be from 90s. And it's going to be mostly alt-rock, but some of it kind of doesn't really count. But it'll be a 90s mix. So if you want to go ahead and get in line for that, 800-288-9227. I'll play you the montage in just a second. But we were learning some lessons from comedy, which is a great place to learn them because comedians have a pass in society that the rest of us don't get. If you're telling a joke, you're allowed to say certain things that are true that wouldn't be as well received if you were saying them in a non-comedy setting. So the good comedy, whether it's offensive or not, is usually only funny if there's a kernel of truth in it. And a lot of comedians are real good at tapping into these pre-existing emotions that we have attached to these issues. And if you're a Midland comic, not Midland like the town, but middling, like mid comic, a lot of times what you can do is lean hard into your politics, left or right. You'll pick up an audience that is looking for such things and love you because of that, not just your comedy. And it'll help you make a little bit of a better living. So you really have to admire the comics that don't go political, the Jerry Seinfelds of the world. And there's a guy right now who's probably the biggest name in comedy, maybe him or Shane Gillis were the biggest comics of 2025. This guy's Nate Bargatze. If you're not already familiar with his stand-up, he's hilarious, but he's done Saturday Night Live, I think 3 times now. But you may have seen the viral videos he's in where he's George Washington. And then he explains, we're fighting for this great country. And they're like, so we'll know what some weird quirk about this country is. And he has to say no. But here he is on a talk show, a late night talk show. And he's being asked, how come your comedy's never political? And he doesn't go into politics in any of his interviews either. He is intentionally staying neutral. Nate Bargatze.
Your comedy is never political, but have you ever thought about politics? Thought about like if you were going to ever have a role in that?
I don't know. You know what I thought I would do is like Secretary of Transportation.
Yeah.
So, because I thought that was like a job that you're like, yo, my boy made it, and he's like, do you want to do something? I was like, I'll do Secretary of Transportation. And then what I've noticed is that's a real job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not see that coming. It's crazy, dude. They call, flights are delayed, they just call you. And they're like, flights are delayed. You're like, right? And he's like, yeah. And you don't know. You're like, oh, I'm a secretary. Like, give me a better name.
Yeah.
The king of travel, if I'm in charge. That boat hit a bridge. You got to call 2 in the morning. That boat hit a bridge. I could do boat stuff too. Like, are you insane, dude? Who are we talking? Trains derailed. I didn't even know we were still using trains. And the answer they gave for that, I loved it because they go, you know what? They all derail. How about that? That's a solid answer. Hey, the train derailed. Yeah, well, these trains all derail. So it's these kids putting these pennies on these trains.
Is that the cause?
That's the cause.
That's what's doing it.
Throw it on the kids.
Squishing pennies. Nate Bargatze. Yeah, it's something that you see in the comic world that sometimes it's disappointing. Sometimes you're kind of proud, like, hey, I didn't know I agreed with him so much on this one. But it's almost impossible to do these days in talk radio. We used to have talk radio that was somewhat neutral. In fact, my first job here in Dallas, I was on a station where Howard Stern was the morning show. And this was before he was political. And so we were just trying to do comedy, doing a lot of guy talk and man talk and lifestyle talk. And you just can't do that anymore. How on earth do you talk about this Minneapolis ICE shooting without revealing your politics? Because either you have political opinions and you try and keep them under wraps, or you're so uninformed but you're self-aware at the same time to know you're uninformed, and so you just don't feel your political opinions very strongly. I mean, that's how most of us were. That's how I was in my 20s. I'm so shocked at all these people that get out and protest in the street. We've got to stop this. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if us at 19 know how to run the world better than, people that raised us. The people who've been around here for 50, 60 years. They may know a little bit more about what's going on in the world than we do. And I don't see any of them out here holding signs. So I don't know. I never protested. I wish I could be apolitical because I don't really like either party, but that's just not possible. You see, people should be able to look at this video that got released today, and this whole debate should be put to bed. But we can't. It's too ingrained in us now, and we can't go back. We're just going to be politically polarized on so many of these topics going forward. Okay, coming up next, we're doing Name That Artist. So I'm going to play a montage of 10 songs. All you got to do is tell me the artist on these 10 songs, and whoever gets the most correct, you're going to win 2 tickets to see Our Lady Peace. Our Lady Peace is coming to Tannehill's Tavern on March 12th. Special guest, The Verve Pipe. Get tickets and information at livenation.com. Or you can go ahead and call in right now, 800-288-9227, and tell me, do you know the artist to these 10 90 songs?
Call me cause you want me, and one day you let me go. You try to give away a keeper, or keep me cause you know you're just so scared to lose. You say, stay. All I wanna do is sex you up all night, make me feel right. Superhero, even if I tumble fall, I'm okay. You have never on me. We could live beside the ocean, leave the fire behind, swim out past the breaker, watch the world die. Well, I'm always like you, when the ocean too. May I waste your time too. Well, I talked about it, carries on, reasons only new. When I talk about it, Aries or treason's all renew. I think I'm paranoid and complicated. I think I'm paranoid. I'm thinking, why, yeah, Superman's dead, yeah.
All right, there's your montage of 90s. We're playing for 2 tickets to Our Lady Peace. If you're like, hey, I know those songs, I know those artists, call in right now. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'll play the montage again on the other side of the break, and if you're just going to play alone in your car with me, I'll give you the answers to Name That Artist next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Does that count as 90s alt rock? That's not in the mix. You're just in time for Name That Artist. Now, this is the game show. It's a little more difficult. Dead or Alive, I think, is the easy one. This is the tough one. But the one thing you have to remember here is you don't have to know all the songs. You just have to know more than the other people who are on hold. And right now, a bunch of people dropped off hold, so you can call in 800-288-9227 because we're playing for 2 tickets to see Our Lady Peace. They're going to be at Tannehill's Tavern in just two months from now, March 12th. So if you're an Our Lady Peace fan, you need to grab your phone and call right now, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Some other guy called in. He's like, I don't know any of those songs. Well, thank you for announcing your ignorance. And I don't mean that as a pejorative. You're bragging about not knowing something. That's always weird. But this is 90s alt rock. And the tickets are for Our Lady Peace, which is 90s alt rock. So if you don't know any of those bands, you probably don't want the tickets to see Our Lady Peace. See how they go together? Because sometimes if I'm giving away tickets to see like Garth Brooks or Alabama's coming to town, I'll play some music from country music from the 80s to kind of coincide with the band. If it's a 70s band, we'll do 70s music. So we're playing Name That Artist right now for tickets to see Our Lady Peace. 800-288-9227. For you people who are already on hold, I want you to get out a piece of paper and a pen, or you can open a notepad file on your phone and go ahead and write down all these bands. So when I go to you, you can just whip them out. All right. Are you ready to write these down? People on hold, write them down. This is your mix for today's Name That Artist.
Call me cause you want me, and one day you let me go. You try to give away a keeper, or keep me cause you know you're just so scared to lose. You say, stay. All I wanna do is sex you up all night, make me feel fine. Superhero, or even if I tumble fall, I'm okay. You have never on me. We could live beside the ocean, leave the fire behind, swim out past the breaker, watch the world die. Well, I'm always like you, when the ocean do, may I waste your time too. Well, I talked about it, carries on, reasons only new. When I talk about it, Aries or treason's all renew. I think I'm paranoid and complicated. I think I'm paranoid. I'm thinking, why, yeah, Superman's dead, yeah, with it in my head, yeah.
All right.
Just laugh instead.
All right. A bunch of us just had a 90s flashback there. Let's see if we can give away some tickets. Who do we start with? Oh, we want to start with a girl, don't we? Stephanie in Fort Worth. Are you ready for today's edition of Name That Artist?
I am so solid on the first and the last.
The first and the last one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's not give it away then. I'll come back to you. How about that?
That sounds beautiful.
Do you want, because if you take a pass right now and I go to Bradley and he nails them all, you don't get a second chance. Oh,
I'm
okay.
good with that.
Okay, good. Bradley, Colleyville, you ready for Name That Artist?
Hey, I'm going to say this, James. I love your show. I'm not going to be able to name the artist, and I default to the lady because she should win it.
What? Why are you doing this?
I'm just going to ladies first. She came in
Didn't we
first.
just have
I'm
a
gonna
talk this hour about suicidal empathy? You're so nice, you're going to give up tickets to see Our Lady Peace at Tannehill's Tavern?
No, I'm a gentleman. Come on, give me a break.
Well, why don't you take her then? You can open the door for her. You can cover the check. All right.
If she wants to take me, that'd be great.
Ooh. Are you single?
I am.
All right. Well, let's see. That makes it worthwhile. Stephanie, Fort Worth?
Yes.
Personal question here. Are you single?
I am, but I'm real old. Like I'm fossil old.
Not if you like Our Lady Peace. You can't be that old.
Oh yeah, I can.
You know, older chicks are like the in thing now. That's like the hot thing. Like young rap stars are bragging about cougars and milfs and stuff.
No, that's not.
All right. Well, let's hear your list here.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with the ones I'm solid.
Okay.
Lisa Loeb. And our very last one is Our Lady Peace.
You didn't know any of the ones in the middle.
I do know some of them. Counting Crows.
Okay, good.
Everclear.
Yeah.
And I'm almost certain the Foo Fighters are in there somewhere.
Yes. They were number 8.
And I feel pretty good about Green Day. Did I say that yet?
Did you say Green Day? Okay, yeah.
I don't know. Insane Clown Posse is because there's so many of them that are in the weird that are just they're so weird.
No, there's no Insane Clown Posse in there.
Okay. All right. That's all I got.
Interesting guess. Okay, I think that has you at 6. Hey, Bradley. She's a little old. Does that bother you?
Well, I'm up there too. I'm 58.
Hang on. This has just got. I don't even care about the game anymore. 58. Is that all right? Is that about in your range? Is that like an acceptable? Yeah. No.
Yeah. No.
That's too young for you or too old for you?
He is way too young.
Too young?
Yeah.
You don't sound like you're too old for a 58-year-old man.
Well, I am. Okay, just let him win then.
Why don't y'all go together? We'll see if we have a love connection.
We don't. We really don't.
You know
We
what?
really don't.
This deference is starting to get on my nerves. Maybe we should just go to Rob in Frisco. Rob, how many do you know?
You know what? I think I'm okay with 8.
Well, then good. I'll give it to you and not to the wannabe lovebirds. Let's hear your list. Go.
All right, I got Lisa Loeb, Color Me Bad.
Yes.
Marilyn Manson.
Yes.
Counting Crows.
Keep going, Rob.
Number 5, I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And I got Everclear.
Okay.
Green Day.
Yes.
Don't know the next one. How about Hole? Our Lady Peace.
Okay, so that puts you at 7, and that makes you the winner. There. We got a steal. 2 people who refused to take the damn tickets. Rob from Frisco swoops in, and they are yours. So here's the full list. Number 1, Lisa Loeb. By the way, Lisa Loeb, that came out when I was in high school. I thought that was the most beautiful girl in the world. I don't care if she looked like a nerd. I don't care if she was not the front of the Sports Illustrated standard of beauty. I loved her. Color Me Bad, Marilyn Manson, Counting Crows, Jane's Addiction. And I like that song because that was used as the theme for Entourage. Superhero. And then it was Everclear, Green Day, Foo Fighters, Garbage, and Our Lady Peace. All right, so I'm going to put you on hold, Rob and Frisco. Stephanie and Bradley, if y'all want to exchange numbers, Garrett will check on you, and maybe we could put you two in connection. Or maybe, here's the thought. Maybe y'all can both come out, because you're both in the Tarrant County area. Maybe you can come out to the first Parker Pour that's going to happen. The James Show's going on the road this coming Thursday. I'm going to do the show live from 2 to 5 from the bar at the bottom of the Omni Hotel in downtown Fort Worth. It's called Whiskey and Rye. And then I'm going to hang out for a happy hour after that for at least a couple hours. So from probably 5 to 7, if not later. Maybe both of y'all should come out, say hi. Yeah, maybe judge each other based on our appearance and not just some meaningless number like an age. Stephanie, Bradley, thank you very much. And thank you, Rob from Frisco, for winning today's edition of Name That Artist. Coming up next on The James Show, the anchor who went viral for reading insults about her, she's back. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Happy Friday. Welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, on your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. And yeah, look, a couple of listeners reached out and asked Garrett to ask me a couple things. The Parker Pour that I just mentioned, this is going to be a monthly event. It's going to be the third Thursday of every month, and the third Thursday of January is this coming Thursday. It's only the 15th. So I know it doesn't sound like the third Thursday, but since this month started on the 1st, and that was a Thursday, that's what we're stuck with. And we'll be doing it again. The next one I expect would be February 20th, which is the third Thursday of next month. And then March 20th is the third Thursday after that. So come on out. I'll be doing the show live from 2 to 5 from the Whiskey and Rye. That's the bar that's at the bottom of the Omni Fort Worth Hotel. So yeah, come on out and see that. The other thing that was asked is, my podcast had been down. They did some renovations and changed the back end. And since I was just using Joseph's login from the morning show, they were like, hey, you don't have your own login? You need to get your own login. So, well, how do I do that? It took a while. I got reinstated in the system now. So I'm going to start putting that back up again right after the show. The James Show podcast will return. A lot of people were asking about that, which doesn't bother me at all. I'm just happy that you care. All right, now a viral sensation that just, I absolutely love this girl. She's a news anchor. Her name is Carissa Cadell, and she's a little thick. And I'm not making fun of her weight. She lifts weights. She's a power lifter. In fact, watching her on social media, she's about to go to a powerlifting competition. So this girl is just stacked. She is stout, right? She's got muscles. When she flexes her arm, it looks like a man's arm. But other than that, she's gorgeous. She looks like Barbie lifts a whole lot of weights. But if you put her in makeup, in a dress, you can't tell that she's fit. She just kind of looks like, I don't know, sort of tree trunkish. I'm trying to be nice here. But she has a good sense of humor about it, because the reason she goes viral is she takes the comments about her off of social media, most of which revolve around her being both thick and beautiful. And then she reads them on the air. And she uses her news anchor voice. And it's absolutely adorable. You can't watch these and not fall in love with this girl.
Girl, you're thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. She's thicker than zoo glass. She's like the only fat 9 I've ever seen. He looks like the third white chick. Sources tell us she power slap thick. Okay, Thickisha, we see you. You look like you can turn a wrench. He's the only thing that can stop Cam Scattaboo going to get a citation for parking that dump truck on the sidewalk. Thicker than train smoke. Why have fake news when you can have cake news? I bet she's thick and tired of reading these comments. You look like you can take a punch. I know about 5 thick news anchors, and she's 3 of them. Built for breeding. Tonight at 5.
Dude, in a world of hypersensitive people who cry at the slightest of insults or for magic words that pierce the veil of safety that this illusion that they live under, if you can laugh at yourself, the rest of the world's going to like you a whole lot more. So yeah, she keeps cranking those out, and I'll keep marrying them together and sharing them with you. It's too funny. All right, so that's going to about do it for the James Show. Couple reminders: the Parker Pour, the first Parker Pour. You could be a part of WBAP history by being at the first Parker Pour this coming Thursday. That's January 15th. I'm doing a live broadcast from 2 to 5. And then I'm going to hang out for happy hour after that from 5 to 7. So if you can come out and see the live broadcast, cool. But if you have to wait till you get off work, you don't get off work till like 5 or 6, just come to downtown Fort Worth. Come by, say hi, and judge me based on my appearance. It'll be a good time. And the podcast, it resumes as soon as I get off the air here. I'll go put up today's show, and that begins again after, a 3-week hiatus? That was too long. Thank you very much for hanging out. Go have a great weekend. Make some good memories. I'll meet you back here at 2 o'clock on Monday. Mark Levin's next on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.